So before we start, thank you so much to all the viewers who have given us an overwhelming response and lots of love to the last couple videos.
Thank you so much. We are really humbled and thanks for your support. Hello guys, welcome back once again to our channel today. We will be discussing today various options of how to rent a place in Saskatoon. So we will be discussing how and where you would live when you first land here.
Because since many of the viewers have requested us and in direct messages, emails, comments, and they wanted to know about the rental procedure here in Saskatoon, so we decided to make a detailed video. So what we have done is we have classified different types of houses, and we will be discussing with you each type. We'll give you the prices, and we'll also tell you, when I say prices, it's not the price to buy a house, but the price to rent a house.
That's right.
And we'll also be discussing the pros and cons and the preferred locations, which are good ones for everybody who's coming in to live when you first land in Saskatoon.
So now to talk about what kind of houses are out there when you actually look out as to what you will be planning to rent. So there are basements, apartments, condo style townhouses, condo style buildings, and then of course the standalones, which are the bungalow style. So
the first category that we'll be talking about is basements. The rent of a basement is about $800 to $1,000. You can get one or a two-bedroom basement, and generally there is only one bathroom there. And the power bill in the basement is about $50–60, but the main thing that you have to check when you rent a basement is that it should not have an electric heat. Because if it has an electric heat, it will shoot up the power bill so much. And then there is no bill for the energy or the heat, because if there is an electric heat, you won't be paying anything to heat up the basement. And for the water, it might be shared with the landlord, which means they will ask you for your portion of usage from the water bill, which may be at times higher. The good side of the basement is that it's a cheaper option. You might get some utilities like internet and TV free of cost, as you will be sharing the same that landlord has if they are okay with it.
That's right.
And then, but the downside is sometimes the basements are have like small windows. There is poor airflow around the house in the basement. So when you are cooking, you might feel there is not proper ventilation. And then the main concern for a basement to me is definitely an electric heat. So if it's an electric heat, your power bill is going to be very high when in the winter time, which is from like November until February, March. Also, when you have a basement, you generally get a one parking spot, and that's on the street. And when it's below -20, you won't have a spot where you can plug in. There won't be an electric outlet where you can plug in. As compared to another options, you might get an electric spot where when temperature dips below -20, you can easily plug in your vehicle.
I mean, there is an option where you can still have an extension cord and then plug in with your unit. However, that's not always ideal. You might not always end up having a spot right in front of your property.
That's right. Because for that also you will need to take a permission of your landlord upstairs.
That is right. So keep all of these factors in mind when you actually think about basement. Now to talk about apartments. The other option, which is after basement, or I would say equivalent to basement, is apartments. That's typically 2-bedroom and 1-bathroom option for a family of 4, and you're looking to spend about $900 to $1,100. So as you would evaluate, basement and apartments in Saskatoon are not much of a difference when you have to spend money. So why not have a feeling of living in a bigger space and having a balcony and having big bright windows, which means that will always give you a feeling of having extra space in your house. This also comes with pros and cons. So to talk about pros for apartments is it's a very secure, very safe place for your family. It's a gated community. Nobody without a building key or a fob can enter your premises. And at the same time, it is cheap. It's not very expensive to have an apartment unit in Saskatoon. The utilities are very cheap, which means you are just paying for your electricity or power bill. So about $50 or so, and water and heat is included in your rent. So that is a very big plus. And at the same time, you don't have to worry about maintaining anything, which means you don't have to do snow removal or anything to do with your landscaping, like lawn mowing or anything, because it's managed by a landlord or a property management company. So they take care of all of this for you. So less hassle, right? So now to talk about the cons. It is a shared laundry, which means when I talk about shared laundry, you do not have a washing machine, a dryer or a washer in suite. You might have like 2 or 3 machines in your apartment building, or if it's a smaller apartment building, you might have just one on any of the floors. So bear that in mind, that you have to make multiple trips when you do have to do your laundry once a week or whenever. And then besides this, you also have to be noise tolerant. So in case you end up having a noisy neighbor, which means there's parties happening or there's kids around. So keep that in mind as well. However, they do have certain rules and regulations in place, which means there are noise hours for every apartment that all the residents have to adhere to. Yeah. So it's not a big issue because it's again managed by reputed companies.
So the next type of houses that I would like to talk to you about is a condo, townhouse or a semi-detached houses. Why they are called semi-detached are because they can be 3, 4 or 5 or a whole street of houses built together with a common wall in between. And they can also be like a luxurious condos in a big high-rise buildings.
That's right.
They have more space as compared to typical apartments. So you might be able to get 2 or 3 bedroom with 2 bathroom concept. But the rent is going to be higher as well. So which means you might be paying $1,200 to $1,500 a month. Plus you are responsible for your own utilities, which means about $70, $75 for power bill, about $50 for a water bill, or $40, $50 for your energy bill, which is also a heat bill. But the good thing about these houses are that they are newer, they are more fancier. They give you a kind of a feel of a house because you get some areas for the kids to play outside, back or the front. Yes. You might be able to get 1-car garage. You're not responsible to do any snow cleaning or lawn maintenance. It's all done by the property management company. The downside is it is still a condo or an apartment style, which means you are sharing a wall. So you got to be careful about making noises, doing parties at your house. You have to follow the condo rules. You cannot make noise after 9 o'clock or something, depending on each condo board. And it's a little bit expensive than renting a regular apartment, which is 1 or 2 bedroom. But again, depending on your priorities, you can choose any of those options.
So the next style of houses that's available for rent are a little bit on a luxury side, which means they are like the bungalow or the standalone houses. You don't have to share a wall or worry about having what kind of neighbors you might end up having. So these are like bungalow style houses, and the rent is of course higher. It ranges between $1,800 to about $2,500. And it's ideal for a bigger family, I would say. And you need your own space and an office, so you can just operate accordingly. And you have more space in these kinds of houses. You have a bigger lawn in the back. You have plenty of space in the front of your house. You might end up or lucky enough to have a attached garage. And basically you can do what you would do in your own house, which means you can operate, like if you're thinking about having your own home-based business, or you think about having something that a daycare or something that you think about it in future, this is an option which you don't have to worry about condo rules.
That's right.
All you have to worry is you have to keep the upkeep of the house, which means you will have to spend money on maintaining your landscape in the front, in the back, and also remove the snow for about 6 months of the year. So these are both the pros and cons of having these kind of houses. These are expensive. However, at the same time, it depends what kind of priorities you want. and end up spending accordingly. And again, to keep in mind, you will also on expenses side, you will have to hook up all your power, water and your heating bills all under your own name, which means you will be spending about $70 to $100 on each of it. So bear all of these in mind when you think about getting a feel of a standalone house.
So after you have decided on what kind of house you want to live in, you might be wondering, do they come furnished? What is all included in them? So what I would like to tell you now is there are 4 or 5 things that are called that make an apartment or a place furnished, which is stove, refrigerator, dishwasher, washer and a dryer, microwave and stuff like that. Most of the rental units, like most commonly used rental units like the apartments, they have the 2 basic appliances, which is stove and a refrigerator. Some of them can also have a dishwasher, but like some of the rental units might give you an option to have all, and some can just have 2 or 3 items.
Yeah, so basically you might end up having an air conditioner, you might end up having a microwave, you might not end up having a washer and a dryer or a dishwasher. So it all depends on the rent you are paying, and at the same time check with your landlord as to what he's providing, because some basements do have these, some basements do not.
Right.
So yes, so it varies. So it's not standard, but in Canada, this is what we call a furnished rental place, right, which means furnished is not typically a furniture like sofa or bed or all that stuff. It is more to do with appliances.
Right. So the rental units come with some appliances.
Yeah. So guys, many people have asked us, can we have a place to live before we actually land here, or can we basically do all the paperwork? How does it work? So the answer to that is yes and no, both. The reason is you can have a place to live before you land here if you have somebody living here, or you have a reference, a family member or a friend. It's kind of complex if you're not here. Well, right now in COVID situation, if you land, the landlord is doing anyways a virtual showing of the house, which means you can still be in your home country and you can still view the house, book an appointment, view the house at the same time, and then do the relevant correspondence with them, saying that what all the paperwork you would need, fill up everything online, send them back, and then you have to make the arrangement of how the payment would work in terms of how would you pay your security deposit in order to secure your place before you land here. So they need that assurance that they have received the money, the place is yours. So make sure you are doing the payment arrangement and talking about that to the landlord. But if you have somebody living here, it is quite simple. It's just about then that person taking the keys and giving you on the day you arrive.
Right. So in nutshell, it means it can be done, but it's little complex for somebody who doesn't have any reference, friends or family members here.
Yeah.
Right. And because especially in this pandemic situation, when somebody lands in, you have to isolate, quarantine for 14 days.
Yes.
So if you rent one of those places where you have everything available, like an Airbnb, I think would be a preferred or a most ideal way to go. And then once you are out of the quarantine, you can then start viewing these houses and do the formalities.
Exactly. But at the same time, like if this situation does not exist and you're coming in a normal scenario, you can end up being in a hotel or in a Airbnb place, and then you can just go to the property management company or a landlord and do accordingly that way. It is only this situation that makes things a little bit difficult.
And then the documents that you need to rent a place is gonna be listed in the description box.
Yes.
And so we'll make a list of everything there and leave it for you to refer to. And also for most of the people who nowadays come, they open their bank accounts from their home countries, so you can transfer the money from there.
Yes.
And that way you will have a bank statement to show it to the property management that you can afford to rent this place for a couple months.
So they know that even though you would get a job 2 or 3 months down the line, you have enough funds in your account so you can afford that place.
So now to talk about the locations, like where to get the house in Saskatoon. But I would like to tell you some of the good locations where you can get a house or a rental unit. and you can start your life.
Basically, it's a safe place that I know many people are worried because they have heard that there are certain places not safe or they are kind of worried, right?
Yeah.
And
so see, like we have all mentioned before, downtown is my first preferred location. The houses there or the apartment units there may be a bit old, but they are close to the offices, the mall, the transit and everything nearby. So you don't have to spend money when you have to go to those places like banks, for example. So you can walk instead of taking a transit, so you save money.
Yeah.
But there are some other locations like many people have a perception that west side of Saskatoon is not too safe, which is I agree to some part of it, but there are 2 or 3 more newer areas that have been built in the west.
Yeah.
And there are many immigrant families who have bought houses there, like people from Philippines, from India, from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, and those places are Blairmore, those places are Kensington, which is the newest of those, and the Hampton Village. So these 3 are the west areas, the west side, and they have most of population of an immigrants, beautiful houses, very good rental units available, apartments, all kinds of options are there.
Yes.
And they are well connected too, like they have buses there.
There's everything, lot of amenities basically.
There is a strip mall nearby, a restaurant nearby, a food store, schools there too.
So it's actually a very great place. It's not like it is just not safe. I would say there are certain areas that you should avoid, but like we have listed the areas that are totally safe for you and your family.
That's right. And apart from the west, when we go towards the other side, another important area is the Lawson Heights. It's a very good location and it is closer to mall, to school, well connected with the transit. And then there is Broadway. Broadway is on the east and it's also very close to downtown. So the Sutherland, again, very close to University, Lakeview, Silver Springs. So the east side, all the locations, like all the preferred locations which are good and safe are on the list. And also there are 2 or 3 areas which are very new and which I have not included in the list. That can be Evergreen or Brighton. Or the reason for not being on the list is because there are not many buses available or transit options are not that good because those areas are brand new, like Aspen Ridge.
They're still developing. So, I mean, you are totally fine to even take a house or rent out a place there. However, just keep in mind that if you don't end up having a driving license or you're not driving, then for you and your family, it might become a hassle and you might end up spending money on taxis or buses.
Right. So those areas are still developing.
You should always try to be in the places which are already developed, right? Like you should be in a place where it's closer to school.
Once you are settled, like you have lived on rent for a couple of years and you want to buy a house, you can, and you have driver's license, then you can definitely buy a house wherever is cheaper, like far off from your workplace too.
And like we have always mentioned, Saskatoon is a small place like British Columbia or Ontario where you would spend hours and hours in driving or commuting. This would not be a problem in Saskatoon. You can easily go from one side of the city to the other in less than like 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
Or so I mean, don't worry about that.
Yeah, if you take a transit, it takes about 45 minutes to an hour. But when you're driving 15 to 20 minutes, you can go around the city.
And the best thing is if you take a place in downtown, it's affordable. It's not like a typical downtown of a bigger city that you will be spending lots and lots of money. Here it is very affordable. So guys, this is all about the housing market in Saskatoon, how you would find a place, what all stuff is included, the rental. Yeah,
and the location is mainly dependent on like your preference.
Yes.
Because if you want a place which is closer to schools. Oh, by the way, we will make a detailed video on schools soon.
Yes.
Because many viewers have requested for a video and a procedure about how to get into schools and all.
Yes.
So we are working on that and we'll soon bring that to you.
And at the same time, we will also leave where exactly can you look for rental places, like websites especially, in the description box below.
So the reason we could actually give you all this information is because we have lived in all the settings of the categories that we have discussed with you today.
Yes.
We started with an basement,
We started with a basement, and then we moved to a apartment and spent there a couple years, and then we moved to a townhouse, and now we live in a standalone house. So this comes with a lot of experience. We are sharing our experience with you. We are by no means an expert, but definitely it is the first-hand experience that you guys are getting from people who have lived in the city, and that's it.
Yeah, we are not somebody who's just moved in a couple years ago. Yeah. We've been here a long time.
Yeah.
So
guys, choose best option. Let us know if you have any questions which we haven't covered in this particular topic with you here. And we will be more than happy to help you guys.
Thank you so much for watching.
Yes, so and thank you again for showing so much support and love, and keep watching our videos and let us know what you would like to see more.
If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to send us a message, I would share our email, our Instagram and a Facebook page with you. So don't hesitate to send us a message if you have any questions. We'll be more than happy to help you. A message that Arya wants to say something.
She can't hold on to it.
Yeah, so here she is.
Please subscribe.
Subscribe for future videos, and we will keep entertaining you. Thank you so much for watching once again.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.